Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel. In this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night of the local time. First we're going to start with Vladimir Zelensky, United States of America. As you know, yesterday he started his travel, and today during the previous night he arrived in the United States of America. He came with his wife and he was met by some local United States authorities, and as we understand, Zelensky is going to have a very tough negotiations with Joe Biden and the Democracy Party of the United States of America. Zelensky will try to ask them to get more weapons, but as we know, according to information we have inside, we have Lavrov is going to have meeting with Zelensky, and he will propose him or give him ultimatum regarding the end of the war. And he will propose Zelensky to accept the terms, but something tells me that Zelensky is not going to accept the terms. Furthermore, the United States of America, to be more precise, the New York Times published very important material. Also, as I understand, they tried to increase the pressure against Zelensky. If you remember, a few weeks ago, there was a very heavy missile strike against the settlement in Donbass area in Konstantinovka on the marketplace. As a result of that attack, a lot of people were killed and wounded, and the Ukrainians blamed the Russians in that attack. But the New York Times made their own investigation, and according to that investigation, the Ukrainians were responsible for that attack. That was basically an attack of Buk missile, and that was, of course, a tragedy. And we see that currently the United States try to increase the pressure against Zelensky, as I understand, without purpose, to force him to start the negotiation agreement and the peace agreement. But this is not the last update regarding the situation. Now let's move to the Europe, to Belarus. We will move from Belarus today. The sources published the video of Wagner camp in the territory of Belarus. As you can see, the camp has been reduced almost twice, and more sources are saying that Wagners were redeployed from Belarus. Some forces left there to continue trainings with the local forces, but most of the forces were redeployed back to Ukraine. Some sources are saying that Wagners were redeployed in direction of Zaporozhye area to reinforce the Russian soldiers in Orekhov direction, but some sources are saying that Wagners were redeployed in the direction of Artyomovsk, Bakhmut, for the same purposes, to stop the Ukrainian offensive operation and probably to return back the Wagner positions in Klishchiivka. And this is also not the most important updates. Today, the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation published a very interesting video. This is commercial where the Russians were trying to get as many as possible soldiers to sign contracts and so on. And the scenario of this commercial is very interesting. Basically, there's a trainings with the two soldiers who was trying to bypass the trainings, and after that, probably they would be sent to the territory, to the area of special military operation. And there was a conversation between these two soldiers, and one of them asked another one, "Could you tell me where is this or that street?" And the second militant told him that this street was located in Kiev, and that's why. And then he asked him, "Why do you ask me?" He told him that I want to go to Kiev and buy apartments. And the second one answered him that I like sea and I would like to buy apartments in Odessa. So this is a very interesting commercial showing that the Russians are planning to start offensive operation in Kiev, that they're planning to return control or establish control over the settlement over Kiev and over Odessa as well. So this is a very funny commercial that also was launched during the Zelensky visit in the United States of America. There are a lot of videos in TikTok where we also can find about some date of 4th of October when something is going to happen, and from the territory of Belarus. So we see the increased pressure against Zelensky, and now everything depends on him. Or the Ukrainians are going to continue this suicide war, or they will start negotiations and they will try to finish this war on the terms of Russian Federation. Furthermore, the sources reported that the Russians managed to accumulate up to 1,000 Iskander missiles along Sumy area and around 53,000 soldiers in the same area, as a possible probably concentration of forces for further offensive operation in direction of Sumy, and from Sumy further in direction of Dnipro, or to encircle Kharkiv, the capital, let's say, of the eastern Ukraine. Furthermore, the Russians reported, and the Ukrainian sources reported, that during the previous night there were significant significant number of missile strikes and Geran strikes. This is another video from Reni, the port settlement that located on the Dunabi River. On this video, we see how Geran drone was flying above the territory. The Ukrainians were trying to shut this drone down, but that was unsuccessful attempts. In a few seconds, there was a very heavy explosion in this area. Furthermore, the sources reported that there were very heavy explosions also in Kharkiv area. We haven't received any video or photo confirmations of those explosions. We just got the video of how the Russians were launching their missiles from Belgorod, Iskanders in direction of Kharkiv. There were a lot of explosions, and probably this is the 5th or 6th day in a row when the Russians are bombing and attacking Kharkiv with Iskanders, with missiles, with different types of rockets. And the main goal, the main purpose is to destroy the Ukrainian military infrastructure, to be more precise, tank service and tank repair and tank production facilities in the area of the settlement. Now let's move to the ground, and first we're going to start with Kherson area. The Russians continue bombing and attacking the Ukrainians with FAB-500s, guided bombs, all over the combat line, all over the Dnipro line from Kizomys to Kazatska. Probably today we're going to receive more details and more updates from the Ministry of Defense regarding the Ukrainian losses, and I'll remind you that currently this area is probably have the highest level of losses of Ukrainian forces, and mainly because of bombing with FAB-500. We know that there are no combat line, and the activity in Dnipro River is not so heavy, but the Ukrainians concentrated for some purposes their forces along the river, and currently the Russians attack them heavily. Very interesting video we got from the Ukrainian side. On this video we can see how the Russians were trying to hide their MRLS system somewhere in the forest in Kinburn Spit, but the Ukrainians managed to discover that rocket launch system, and as a result of artillery strike, that system was destroyed by the Ukrainian forces. Now we're moving to Zaporozhye, Kherson area. We haven't received nothing during the previous night, just one geolocated video how the Ukrainians were trying to storm and to capture the Russian positions that located on the west of Verbovo. That attack was repelled by the Russians, and the Ukrainians, under very heavy fire, artillery fire, were forced to step back, and the Russians managed to save their presence and control over this part of the fields and these fortifications. When talking about Vremivka tactical bridgehead, we also haven't received almost nothing during the previous night. We see that for some reason either the Russians and the Ukrainians took a decision to reduce the activity on the combat line. Currently we see just media messages like the investigation of Konstantinovka attack, the Russian commercial regarding entering and capturing Kiev and Odessa, these pictures with Wagner. So everybody tried to tell Zelensky that if he's not going to stop this war, because if he's not going to accept the Russian terms, he's going to receive a complete escalation and more damage, more losses, and worse situation than he has right now. We'll see. I believe that Zelensky also has something to show, not to the Russians. He can't show them anything, but I believe that he has something to show to Joe Biden and his family. So I believe that he has something that can force the leader of the United States of America to continue support him and to send him more weapon, more money, modern weapon, long-range missiles, and so on. When talking about Klishchievka, Artemov front line, there are no changes. The only thing, as we discussed, that probably Wagner's or have been already redeployed in this area, or probably they will be redeployed in the very near future. The Ukrainians published the video how they discovered and destroyed another Russian position somewhere in the vicinity of Azaryanovka without any changes on the ground. And that's it for this video. Military Summary channel reminds you to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.